The Rams just made a sneaky good signing. We're going to talk about that player they just added to their defense. We're also going to talk about how two players on the Cincinnati Bengals are actually going to affect Puka Nacua and his contract negotiations moving forward. And we're going to maybe mention a little bit of a quote from Cooper Kupp, a paraphrase quote, as he's been talking in his press conference for the Seattle Seahawks. We'll talk about all that and much more on today's episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Giron. Remember, if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, press that subscribe button now, as 72.5% of you guys are watching the videos, but you're still not subscribed to the channel. So do me the favor, press that subscribe button now so you don't miss any daily Rams content here at the Rams Digest. First things first, before we get into any of the stories, I want to hear a quick word for the sponsor of today's video. We are incredibly excited to be kicking off our March Madness bracket here for the channel. We're going to be partnering up with the Hot Takes app and other digest channels for this event. It's completely free to sign up. All you got to do is download the Hot Takes app, go ahead and click over the March Madness banner at the top, and under group, select the Digest Media Pool. This is extremely exciting, guys. We're talking about over $25,000 in prizes to be won, and since there's a much smaller pool of people participating, there's a real chance of winning big compared to other bracket challenges out there. Check out the link below or scan the QR code to download the app. And make sure to use the promo code DIGEST in all caps. Again, that's DIGEST in all caps to get exclusive perks when signing up. It's completely free, a serious chance to win. So do me a favor, if you guys have any questions at all, go ahead and hit the email down below. Other than that, thank you to Hot Takes for this opportunity, and I hope to see you all there in the March Madness pool. All right, first things first, we're going to talk about the sneaky good signing the Rams just made. Now, look, when I say sneaky good, I really do mean sneaky good. I'm not saying this player is going to be an all-pro, Pro Bowl type of player at the linebacker position, but it's a player at a position of need. The Rams needed to address this position. They did, and they went ahead and signed Nathan Landman from the Atlanta Falcons, 1-year contract. Again, just because he's not a household name does not mean this player won't bring value to the team. What I mean by sneaky good is I kind of want someone to maybe even screen record this. I'll screen record it myself, and we'll keep it down. I think Nate Landman has potential to be a fan favorite this upcoming season for the Rams. Young player, pretty quick to the football, can really aggressively make some good tackles, force some fumbles, play a little bit in coverage as a drop back linebacker. I think ultimately, I'm not saying, again, give this guy the all-pro here, but I am saying look out for Nate Landman. This could be a sneaky good signing for the Rams. You need players who work hard at their positions and all over the defense. But when we're talking about a position of need, if they want to come together and work as a unit, this is a good addition to this unit. The team announced Tuesday it has agreed to a 1-year deal with Nate Landman, a linebacker who has spent the last 3 years with the Atlanta Falcons. Landman, 26 years old, so adds to the youth of this team as well. Started 9 games for Atlanta last year, has some experience there, but also the year before that, 14 starts in 2023. So we're talking about over the last 2 seasons, 23 starts from Nate Landman. That is a lot of experience coming into the fold here at the linebacker position. He's a former undrafted free agent who signed with the Falcons in 2022 out of the University of Colorado. In 3 seasons, he has 192 tackles, 6 forced fumbles, and 4 passes defense. Now, again, you're not expecting him to come out and force 6 fumbles this year, but you are. When we're talking about 6 fumbles in 3 seasons as an undrafted free agent, we're talking about a player who clearly knows how to tackle aggressively, 4 passes defense, knows how to play a little bit in coverage, right? We're not asking him to go out there and lock people down, but at least play a little bit, play a little bit of team defense. And I think that's one key here. The Rams have a lot of stars on the defensive side of the ball. You don't need a guy to come in and get 4 sacks at the linebacker position and 10 tackles for loss. Would that be nice to get an all-pro performance from your inside middle linebacker? Of course, but the Rams are paying their quarterback. They're paying their number 1/number 2 receiver now, right? Puka Nacua, number 1, number 2, whatever, still playing on his rookie contract. But ultimately, you're paying a lot of guys on this team. Your left tackle is getting paid now. Your interior offensive line, Dotson has been paid a little bit, right? We're talking about Rob Havenstein, who's got a little bit of a nice contract, Tyler Higbee, and all these guys in the offensive side of the ball. Then when we're talking defense, we still have these first-round rookies that are ultimately getting paid a decent amount as well. And so overall, the Rams cannot just go ahead and have all pros at every position. They're bringing in a guy like Nate Landman, who I think will play a lot for the Rams. He might be a sneaky good fan favorite for the Rams by this time. We're talking next year, postseason, mid-season probably. We can be talking about Nate Landman as being one of those fan favorite guys who's making big-time plays and big-time moments for the Rams. That is my hope. That is my dream scenario for Nate Landman. It could be a sneaky good signing at a position of need for the Rams. Moving on from that, how much money are we talking about? What's going on? What's going on? Puka Nacua, he's a rookie. He's still on his rookie contract. He's still a young player. What are we talking about? Well, when we're talking about about Puka Nacua's contract, it is very interesting. When we're talking about a 5th-round rookie, this isn't a player that you're gonna have under team control for 5 years, right? You can't do just snap on the 5th-year option. All of a sudden, we're all good for 5 years. That's not the case for Puka. We're talking about his contract coming up after next season, or even throughout the season. It may be brought up in conversation, and next offseason definitely will be at the top of conversation when we're talking about Rams news. And so after Jamar Chase and T. Higgins contracts, what can the Rams expect to pay Puka Nacua? If you guys have not heard about what's going on in Cincinnati, very interesting stuff, right? Both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins got huge, ridiculously huge contracts from the Cincinnati Bengals. And ultimately, is it the right decision for the Bengals in terms of winning? Who cares? That's not what we're focused on here. What we are focused on is the reality that is this is going to affect what Puka Nacua is asking for, right? The Cincinnati Bengals surprised the NFL when they finalized contract extensions for both Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Remember, last year, they were talking about trading T. Higgins all year long. He dealt with some injuries. Very, very long contract dispute. They ended up tagging him for a second time this year, which was a lot of money to franchise tag a receiver. And so after a long contract dispute, the Bengals agreed to deals with both players. Chase's contract will be worth $161 million with $112 million guaranteed, while T. Higgins' contract will reportedly be worth $115 million. It won't be long for the Rams to run into the same predicament with their own players. It's a big reason why the team has left future years open in recent free agent contracts. As it stands, the Rams have the second most cap space heading into 2027 at $256 million. In other words, they don't have any future contracts on the books. And so, ultimately, this is the cap space stuff. I'm not a capologist. I'm not someone who understands the cap to a T. I'm not a finance guy. I don't like numbers. I don't even like talking about guys' contracts because I want players to get all the money in the world, right? The billionaire owners, they get all the money themselves, so why not the players get some of that, those millions too, right? So I don't care how much players get paid ultimately, but I do care about the cap space a little bit because I think that does affect how good you can build your team, right? And so ultimately this is important. The Rams are looking in a couple years, 2027, they're going to be amongst the second most cap space heading into 2027. And so that's really, you're looking at it like that's Matthew Stafford maybe retiring around that year, maybe even Devontae Adams being done with his career at that point. At that point, you would have either extended or moved on from Kyren Williams. And so ultimately, it's a lot of money that you're going to be paying guys and not have a quarterback, maybe not have a second receiver next to Puka Nacua. And so that's kind of scary, I think, for the Rams down the road. Not really a major concern right now. I get it. But next offseason, you're going to have to look into paying Puka Nacua and paying Puka Nacua a lot of money. I always think the teams in the NFL in general, they wait way too long sometimes in terms of paying their players. Look at how long this kind of was drawn out by the Bengals, right? If you're going to pay T. Higgins all that money, why didn't you just pay him last year? Why didn't you just extend Jamar Chase last year as well so you don't have to deal with the market rising? It's just going to go up. It's guaranteed. It's going to go up every single year. So why not just pay the guy now so it doesn't go up more and more and more, $4 or $5 million every single year, every single second almost? It feels like you're waiting, right? So we'll have to wait and see what the Rams end up doing. I don't think we're getting any major news, this offseason or throughout the year. But ultimately, it's something that we can kind of keep in the back of our minds a little bit, right? We're looking at some guys and their total contracts and how much money they're making. Justin Jefferson, $140 million total value of his contract. I'm not sure if this chart is updated from Over the Cap because we just saw that Jamar Chase's was going to be over $161 million. So in terms of value, so we'll have to see on that. I don't know if maybe he's just not going to be on here for whatever reason. I don't know. But CeeDee Lamb, $136 million total. All right, $34 million per year. T. Higgins down there, he's at about the $26 million mark per year range. So ultimately, the Rams are going to have to pay Puka Nacua a lot of money. I don't know if they're going to have to pay him $34, $33, $36 million. I don't know if they're going to have to surpass Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown money. I'm not saying Puka's not better than those guys, by the way. I'm just simply saying, I don't know. I don't know if the Rams see him as better than those guys. I don't know if you guys, how do you guys feel? Is Puka Nacua better than, let's go down. I would say he's not better than Justin Jefferson. I think we can agree maybe he may not be better than Justin Jefferson. Maybe not better than CeeDee Lamb. Puka's pretty good, though, right? And so it's also, right there. A.J. Brown, I think I would probably take Puka over A.J. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I like Puka over Amon-Ra. Tyreek Hill, at this point in his career, I kind of like Puka Nacua as well. And so we're talking about Puka Nacua really arguably being a top 3 receiver in the NFL when he's healthy. And so that is going to be a scary, big contract when his contract comes up. all for it, by the way. I want Puka Nacua to get all the monies in the world. Give him everything. I don't care. I love Puka Nacua. But ultimately, we do have to think about the cap and cap space moving forward. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see on that. Just kind of something interesting to take a look at moving forward. Nothing really too crazy to get into detail there. Just wanted to kind of bring it to the table. Before we get into the trivia of the day, I want to acknowledge Cooper Kupp. First of all, anytime you see a ... in this quote here, it's me paraphrasing pretty heavily. He talked about, he kind of mentions a couple of things here that I just wanted to kind of get to the nitty gritty of what he was really trying to say. But ultimately, I'll try to kind of paraphrase him as best as possible to make sure I don't leave anything important out here, right? So here's Cooper Kupp talking about leaving Los Angeles and the Los Angeles Rams. He says, it's been difficult, in all honesty. I said I always imagined that I would finish my career there. Not sure. Obviously that ... actually is when they asked him if the Rams gave him a reason in terms of moving on. He says, I'm not sure. They had their reasons. Not a ton of clarity in that regard, but he did say at the end of the day, he's thankful to be able to walk away from that organization and overall, look at it in a positive light. Look at the experiences he had, look at the memories, the friendships he built in Los Angeles, and kind of look at that in a positive light. Sad, frustrated, definitely dealing with some negative thoughts on that sense in terms of moving on because he thought he was going to retire a Ram, but ultimately he did have some positive things to say. Also, I do want to acknowledge he did say shout out to God. It wasn't God's plan, right? In terms of his life and his career to finish in Los Angeles, and I do always like and respect and appreciate that perspective from Cooper Kupp in general, but also any player. I think that's a great perspective to have. It just wasn't in the plan. It wasn't in the plan. Whether it's God, universe, however you guys feel about that, it wasn't in the world's plan, in the universe's plan, for him to be in Los Angeles for the remainder of his career. And ultimately, I think the Rams and Rams fans are understanding it's a business, and I think we're excited about the future of the Rams, but it still is sad and a little bit, a little bit sad sometimes. That's all I can say when you're thinking about Cooper Kupp not being a Ram anymore, not finishing his career with the Rams. But shout out to Cooper Kupp. That may be one of the last times we mention Cooper Kupp on the show, maybe on the channel. We'll have to wait and see on that. I don't know. Maybe we'll bring him up in the future. But overall, shout out to Cooper Kupp. Wish him nothing but the best. Trivia of the day. My favorite part of the day. I ask you guys a trivia question. You guys give me your trivia answers down below, and we talk about and shout out the ones who got them right and got them wrong on the next episode. Today, we're talking about yesterday's trivia of the day. Before I give you guys who guessed it, yesterday's trivia of the day. I wanted to give a shout out to these names here. But first, the question for yesterday. What team originated as the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets before taking its current name in 1933? This was a fun one. I kind of like this one. I wish more people played along, but shout out to the two of you who did guess it. If you guys have never played Trivia of the Day before, by the way, you just give your comment of whatever the trivia question is, give your answer down below, and we'll shout you out on the next episode, whether you're right or whether you're wrong. We'll try to shout you out either way. These are the people who guessed on the last Trivia of the Day. Shout out to Mike Romero saying, I will say the Packers, and shout out to Freddie K. Bassman, also saying, or Baseman, also saying his answer was the Packers. Very, very good guesses here. I do appreciate you guys, again, playing along with the trivia of the day. The multiple choice options for yesterday's question was the Eagles, the Packers, the Washington Commanders, or the Detroit Lions. What team originated as the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets before taking its current name in 1933? Everyone was wrong here. Everyone was wrong. The correct answer was the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles actually originally were the Frankfurt Yellow Jackets before taking their current Philadelphia Eagles team name with them since 1933. So very interesting trivia there. Take that trivia with you, if you will. Go ahead and share it with any of your Philadelphia Eagles friends out there. Not that you should have any Philadelphia Eagles friends, because we don't like the Eagles here. Moving on from that, trivia of the day today. Give your guesses down below if you guys want to be shouted out on the next episode. What pass rushing specialist has played on 5 Super Bowl winning teams, which also, mind you, is more than any other player in the NFL, which I think that's wrong because obviously Tom Brady. But I think maybe it's saying what pass rushing specialist, maybe what defensive player was on 5 Super Bowl teams. I don't know. If this is completely wrong, don't worry about it too much. This was a little bit of an older trivia game back in like 2018, 2019, so they might not be accounting for the Tom Brady's of the world and what he did later in his career. But ultimately, what pass rushing specialist has played on 5 Super Bowl winning teams, almost possibly more than any other NFL player aside from Tom Brady? What player was it? Was it A, Bruce Smith? Was it B, Reggie White? Was it C, Willie McGinnis? Or was it D, Charles Haley? Give your guesses down below. We'll go ahead and shout you out on the next episode if you guys are right, or if you guys are wrong, we'll shout you out either way. That's going to do it for me on today's episode of the Rams Digest. Make sure you guys play along with the Hot Takes app. Download the Hot Takes app. Play along. You have a real chance to win real money, and if you don't do it soon, you're not going to get that opportunity. So do me a favor. Go ahead and download the Hot Takes app. Follow the instructions down below. Other than that, that's going to do it for me on today's episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Giron, and I am out.